Hi.
Well, good afternoon. I have 12 noon on my clock, so welcome, and thanks for joining us today for our new knowledge session. If this is your first time or your 100th time, we're delighted to have you join us. This is a program that's been going on for, what is it, almost 11 years, as a way to help our business community learn new skills and tips and identify resources to help them to not only start, but to grow their business and manage it the best. My name is Sandy Ratliff. I am with Locust, formerly known as Virginia Community Capital. And I've got two of the team members joining me that are part of this program. Nita Farmer is with the Washington County Chamber of Commerce, and Kathy Lowe is with the Virginia Highlands Small Business Incubator. All of these teams are focused on helping our small business community. And another partner in this program is the town of Abington. We're happy to have you join us today. And today's session is being recorded for education and training purposes. And after the session today, it will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, New Knowledge, and you'll find not only today's session, but you will also find probably over 200, close to 250 workshops that we've done since 2015 when we started posting these online. We do have everyone muted just to keep the webinar flowing, but if you do have a question for our presenter, please post those in the Q&A section, and we will address those during and especially after the session, because this is a learning event for you. We're delighted to have Carl Knoblock today join us back. He's a big partner for us in Southwest Virginia in supporting our small business community. Carl's with the Small Business Administration. He is our Virginia guy. He does it all in Virginia and does a great job all over the state helping our small business community. Today's session will be focused on agricultural and regenerative medicine, and something that I want to learn more because I know it's something that's growing in Southwest Virginia. And Carl, I'm just going to turn it over to you so you can tell them more about what you do and lead this session. So
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Sandy. Appreciate it. And thank you to Locust and Washington Chamber, Kathy, with your innovation center there and that, and the town of Abington. You guys do a great job. So with that, I'm going to share my screen real quick, but I'm with the Small Business Administration. And the thing I want to highlight to you is we help businesses at all stages of their life. And the one thing I want to stress is doesn't matter if you're just kicking tires or just looking at the aspect of closing your business. We help you with all phases, and that's everything from financing to international to research and development, which this conversation today is going to focus on, to the aspect of how to market better and that. And we have our resources, which we have a number down there of in Southwest Virginia of our small business development centers. They're a huge resource for us that we lean on, and they do an excellent job. So just want to point that all out that's readily available, plus all the other resources that are available that are offered by the local community. And Sandy's one of those big advocates, and Kathy and that. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. You're probably wondering, why am I talking about agriculture and regenerative medicine, and I'm with the Small Business Administration? Well, believe it or not, I got involved in this activity probably about 4 years ago, and discussion about trying to make this come to market. And we'll hear a little bit more about this as we move forward in the conversation. So you see where we kind of show up at the strangest locations with these type projects. Anyway, the thing I want to talk about first is innovation. Okay. Everybody takes for granted human blood and the blood banks and everything that's readily available today that we use on a daily basis, not only from the red blood cells to the plasma to the platelets, everything that you can think of that's in blood is being used. But think about it. Many, many years ago, when they first tried to do blood transfusions, they didn't understand O positive, O negative blood, the different types, and which ones are compatible and which ones are not, and then also certain antibodies. Uh, Once that science was figured out, today we just take human blood for granted. But at that time, a number of people did lose their lives because of reactions that happen with blood transfusions and that. So, with innovation, unfortunately, there are some lives that are lost just because we're learning. But at the end of the day, we're getting better with it, with our technologies and things like that. You think about implants. Now, many years ago, if you wanted to get any type of implant, you had to spend a number of days in the hospital to get something done. And today, you can just walk into the dental office and get an implant done of your tooth. That basically screws into your jawbone and then it becomes your permanent tooth. So, um, these are things that we kind of take for granted once again, but it's been years of research that has created this. Organ transplants we hear about all the time, but one of the things we're trying to get to is that next level where people don't have to take medication for the rest of their life to keep the body from potentially attacking the organ that's been transplanted in them. So, and that's some of what regenerative medicine's about. And we'll be talking more about that as we move on. Bone marrow, we've heard that, especially with cancer patients and things like that, with transplants and that. Also with the stem cells in them to use them for other purposes. And then even now with drug testing and what we call microorgans, which are basically miniature versions of the liver, the kidneys, and things like that. So these are directions we're heading as we move forward. And one of the big things that's helped us that, we've heard the buzz talk about 3D printing. Everybody kind of just is almost accepting it now as standard, but we're going to be doing 3D printing of organs and with biomaterials and that. So uh, it's amazing what 3D printing is doing in manufacturing and what eventually it's going to be doing in the biomedical community. What pushed this innovation? Unfortunately, it's our wars. The war fighters who get damaged and for years when they were trying to keep them just alive, it was, as they called it, meatball surgery. Just try to patch them together, keep them alive until they can eventually get home and they can actually try to do the surgeries on them to reconstruct things and that. And with that, that's what's created the innovation. And the Department of Veterans Affairs has been a big player in the research and development of that with the major universities and that years ago where war fighters would not survive, today they're surviving and having good lives. If you think about it, during the Vietnam era, just how many lost their legs. And today, those that lost their legs during our most recent wars, and yet they can run and do sports like they never lost it. The direction we have gone with our technologies and everything to improve people's lives is all direct correlation of a negative, which is our wars, but a positive, it's pushed the innovation envelope, how to make people's lives better. Regenerative medicine, uh, really, it's the process of replacing, engineering, or regenerating human or animal cells, tissues, organs to try to establish somewhat of a normal function. Uh, this is still a young field because this only is roughly 1988 is kind of when the buzz started about engineering, tissue engineering. And so it's in one aspect fairly new. In other aspects, it's fairly old. So the thing is that as what's come on with 3D printing, with nanotechnology, it's totally disrupting the market, that this market is actually a real growth potential. And it's a huge growth potential for us potentially in Southwest Virginia. So that's why the topic today to discuss it. Um, so So regenerative medicine, everybody always hears about stem cells, and the thing about stem cells is, depending on which side of the fence, how you look at it, it's a positive or negative because everybody always looks at embryos. But what people have to understand, almost all the major tissues have stem cells, and so it's just not the embryo. And so we kind of have to understand that those stem cells that are uh, uh, when it's mentioned, that's where people go first. And what we're really talking about here is the different parts of the body that have the ability to regenerate tissues or cells. So that's what the stem is. Gene therapy, which has just come about, and I don't know how many of you have actually done your gene testing to see where you potentially originated from. Um, that's kind of this concept to sit here. And what we're doing is we're identifying genes to potentially either manipulate to take away certain diseases um, before they impact a person's life and gives a dire outcome. At the same time, we're looking at the therapy, how to improve people's lives where we really can't change it, but still we can improve it. And then also, you will see later on in this conversation how to manipulate it to potentially give someone a second life. Um, so that's the whole idea behind it. Tissue engineering, probably the biggest one, is the largest organ on us, skin, especially with burn victims. This is where tissue engineering has really got its legs and really moved itself forward. And we'll talk about a little bit more about the challenges of why tissue engineering and that hasn't progressed as far as it should. But what's exciting is with the advantage of 3D printing and nanotechnology, it's going to help us expedite this now, where we're going to have greater opportunities to help people more. Implants, which we already kind of briefly discussed, the thing is people getting new hips. Um, for years, they were just kind of laid up in bed, and it was 2 weeks before they were even being around. Today, they do the surgery, and basically, as soon as they wake up, they got them up walking. Same thing with knees and that. So that's the things we look at. And then the biomaterials. Those are combinations of inanimate and biological materials meshing together to give a common outcome, which can be an implant. So, like an example, a number of our war fighters have titanium inside of them, uh, which we have to monitor the titanium levels, but it helps them with their body that was damaged due to explosions and things like that, with their hips and those type areas. So they mesh it with a biological to make sure that it can work together. What's really fascinating, and this I don't think a lot of people understand, is research universities are big into regenerative medicine. The number one operation in the world for regenerative medicine is Wake Forest. When you think about where Southwest Virginia is located and where Wake Forest is less than 2 hours. And it's right there in our backyard. And then you look the other direction, University of Virginia is a big player in this market, and so is Virginia Tech. But people don't look at them in regenerative medicine. They look at them as University of Virginia Medical, Wake Forest Medical, Virginia Tech. They don't look at medical; they look at veterinarian and things like that. So these are things that people have to be aware of. There's several in California, the Ivy League schools, and then England. England is a big player. Oxford, uh, big players in this arena. Why is this important? Because for regenerative medicine to work, we're going to need certain types of products to further the research so we can get answers and get results that can eventually help people someday. Stem cells, we talked briefly about. The thing is, they're self renewing, which they can divide into more cells and keep producing. They can be target specific, like skin, and that's what it's totally focused on. Or it can be a stem cell that can go in multiple directions and change. And that's the thing that we had tried to identify as we worked further on our research. Um, the thing is that, as I stated earlier, it's almost in all our tissues. And so, as we've gotten better at identifying these areas, we're able to reproduce them and grow them in the lab. Um, but we still have a weakness. And that weakness is the fact that, unfortunately, all our organs in our body need oxygen and food. And to get that, they need a blood supply. And unfortunately, the challenge is that when they develop these and they even make the blood vessels, they don't grow fast enough to connect. So eventually it dies. And that's where 3D printing and nanotechnology is changing that we're able to integrate it in much faster and has a huge potential to eliminate that one dire issue that kind of stops us from moving forward. So that's an exciting piece that's going on at this time. And, everybody talks about nanotechnology, but, you sit here and you think about Southwest Virginia, and believe it or not, coal has been taken up into the Department of Energy in Pittsburgh and taken parts of coal to make carbon nanotubes to see what they could be used for in products. So they put it in cement. They've made basically LED type lighting. So it's done a variety of things. So the potential for nano type operations is a definite plus in the regenerative medicine market. So the biomaterials, these are materials that are compatible in our body. So, we all have heard metal. Uh, People have talked about, especially with joints, and then they have a polymer type material over them, those type things. Uh, and then ceramic is another market that's really growing, that the body doesn't really attack, and can be used for a variety of locations in our body. Especially teeth is the most common, but people that have had their eye sockets damaged, those type things, uh, this is where this comes in play. And then a bio-derived material, which really came out during our most recent pandemic, COVID-19, really showed how we could potentially bring drugs to market much faster and create a solution that we can mass produce and save a lot of lives um, from this technology, which is now venturing into other areas of new types of drug type therapies, and that because of this breakthrough that was created during COVID. So the importance of agriculture, we have plant-based biomaterials, and what we mean by plant-based is, everybody sits here and thinks, okay, you're talking about everything under the sun. No, we're not. We're actually just only talking about uh, the cellulose. That's a big player. We're talking about pectin, that's in it, and starch. Those are kind of like the building blocks. And those are what they're basing everything off to try to make the biomaterials from. One of the big ones is collagen. So like your tendons, those type things that stretch somewhat. Those are things that come into play. And then animals. And two that we're going to talk about today because they are relatively significant for us potentially in Virginia, especially Southwest Virginia, is swine and sheep. So with that, agriculture, as we take about, they take care of us because they feed us and everything else. They also have solutions to help our lives better from a medical standpoint. That's a whole new venture besides uh, therapeutic type drugs and things like that, but also um, ways to help our organs be replaced, tissues where they're just failing because of health conditions that we unfortunately were born with. There's also regenerative agriculture where they talk about how to improve the soil. That's another buzzword that runs around, or biodiversity, uh, grafting, um, and drought resistance. So once again, it's how do we make a better crop so it can stand up? So as climate change is happening, they're literally working on how to change and adapt their crops to what the new environment may look like, but still be able to produce a product that can still feed the world. Um, and so these are things that we have to think about through this whole process when people are working. Grafting, you think about the thing I always think about when I hear grafting is apples, because we have the original apples that were here in Virginia when we first came here, and how many different varieties we have today and still are creating by this grafting technology and also using genetics, trying to make a sweeter apple, a more firm apple, a softer apple, besides being drought resistant and all those type things, or not getting enough sunlight, but still gets that sweetness in it. All these things are being trying to improve from that level. Improving soils, that's where nanotechnology is really becoming a player. How do we improve the uh, soil levels at that level that we just can't see to make things better? So we're going to talk about swine and why is that really significant? Because Virginia is really not a swine state. That's more in the Midwest with hogs and pigs and that. But Christiansburg actually has a great project going on where they're having the facility just built right off the 81. You can see it. It should be almost done, in fact. But what's really neat about that is it's a facility where they're growing roughly 200 pigs, and they're literally going to be used for heart and kidney transplants. This is a pathogen-free facility. And what's that mean? It means that these pigs have been grown so they haven't been exposed to certain types of diseases that potentially from a human standpoint or from what the pigs amongst themselves encounter living together. So they are in a very controlled environment. These are not pigs that will be outside. They will actually be inside a facility, and everything will be controlled, diet, everything. So, and this is purely a research and development facility. So this is not a commercial facility to try to create uh, potential hearts and kidneys for transplants. This is to learn how to potentially do it to potentially turn into a commercial operation. But the one thing is, what made this happen? And there it is on the last line. They added 6 human genes and deleted 4 pig genes. So what we've done here is we've literally changed the market when it comes to this um, from the standpoint of that genetic therapy where we've manipulated the genes to try to create a product that can be used. Why is this important? Because the idea is if this is put in, now the person doesn't have to be on drugs to be to prevent the body attacking it. That's the idea behind it. It's the body to say, oh, it's okay to be there. So it makes the person stay stronger, healthier, and that's kind of what this is right now. This is a research and development project to see these hearts and kidneys will be um, sent out to these different research facilities. The experiments will be tried on patients that basically have no other hope, and to see what they can learn and find ways to improve it so they can live longer and hopefully healthier lives. And then eventually, what this will hopefully lead to is an interim step, as I call it, where they're actually just uh, doing this to replace the shortage of organ transplants that we have available. But the idea is, as we've learned to use genetics and these other tools, that we can actually start mass producing organs that will be able to go into people that is actually of human type material. So it will no longer be from an animal. It will actually be totally directly from a human at the genetic and cell level that they've actually produced. And that's eventually what the ultimate goal is. So this is the company that's doing this project, and it's called xenotransplantation. And this is basically, transplanting tissues from different species into another person or animal. And so that's the idea behind this. And so this is almost on the concept of what apples are. And so uh, they're trying it and see, can we get agreement? Can we get a positive outcome? And we're going to experience all different types because we're not all made the same, and that's the one thing we've discovered in medicine. We are not all the same. So uh, we're going to get a lot of different potential conflicts at times based on ethnic background and things like that, even male female genders. So we're going to learn a lot of different things from this to improve on the product. But the ultimate goal is to save more lives and let people have more of a normal life, to enjoy life uh, with everything that's going on. But I want to talk about the sheep because we actually have a company that's been doing this research and development work where they've been supplying sheep up in New Hampshire for a number of years. But they want to open a facility down in Galox. Um, and this is not just a research and development, which they have up there in New Hampshire. They want to try to scale this to become literally a commercial operation to help improve people's lives. So these are once again pathogen-free sheep, and we'll talk a little bit more about in depth what that actually means. It's a new venture. I can already tell you that North Carolina and also California have an interest in this project. So it's not, is it going to happen? It will happen. It's just which state is going to reap the benefits of it. That's what it comes down to. Why Galox? Because think about what I said earlier. Wake Forest, where is it located? Think about the University of Virginia, also Virginia Tech, and also because of their veterinarian program. All very positives. Also, do we not also have in Southwest Virginia a veterinary doctor of medicine program? So those uh, potential future veterinarians can come over there and work in these facilities so they learn new skill sets and all that. So a potential win-win for Southwest Virginia. If not, I know that Wake Forest has got North Carolina very interested in this project. We also have California, who's very interested in this project. So it's a thing that we have to keep in mind that we may think it's for our area, but everybody's trying to capitalize because they know what the potential economic boom will be from this. Because once you start creating this product line, you're going to create other companies to basically be nearby so they can get product from these sheep and basically mass produce them to ship out wherever they may need to around the world. So the closer it is, the more effective it is. So what we do is we get new industries from this, and we'll talk more about that. So here's the sheep, and these sheep are really unique. They are very calm. That's one of the things that a lot of the research and development scientists have talked about with these sheep, that they don't have that stress level, which helps with their research, the work they're working on, because that's one of the things you can take out of potential impact of your results is the animal's stressed, so they don't know how to. That influences, as we all know, when we're under a lot of stress, we have certain health conditions. We typically will get sick easier uh, because of that stress that's wearing down on our body because we don't have the ability to relax. They're in controlled environments. And the thing is that that key point right there towards the bottom, uh, from over 50 disease causing agents or pathogens. Those are ones that are common to sheep, and then also that potentially humans could transfer over to the sheep. So, very controlled environment. Uh, they're uh, outside and inside in the facility. They're in New Hampshire. The ones at Galax will actually be two separate locations that they're looking at to basically be outdoors, but the area will be secured so even outside rodents and things like that cannot get into the facility to potentially contaminate these sheep. So they have a full-blown security program set up to protect these sheep because they know the potential impact if they are contaminated. And we talk about this with, you know, the bird flu and things like that, how that has had impacts on wiping out whole chicken crops and things like that, or uh, herds of chickens and that. So,
Hey,
yeah.
Carl, we have a question that I
Uh,
think you might
uh,
want to answer as you're going forward.
okay.
It says, how accessible is this for regional farmers? Looks like the Christiansburg facility cost 100 million to build.
You're right. And that one's a really unique facility that's tailor specific. To give you an example, the sheep one is literally just land that was designed for sheep, but now they just want to clean it up so these sheep can be brought in and have the area secured uh, from potential, as they call it, biological contamination. So it
Hmm.
would be 2 years of literally strict monitoring of this area to clean it before these sheep are introduced into that community.
So
So
is it a process of is it a whole application process if you wanted to be this type of
and no,
farm?
it's not it's a thing that you would have to follow the guidelines type fencing you would build. Like one of the things is they're going to have high fencing so the deer can't get in because we
Yeah.
know deer are every place. Also there's a secure area because they know they have bear. And so it's taking all these things into account that potentially impact the destruction of these sheep because the economic impact of this herd being contaminated of the literally it would be millions of dollars because of all the byproducts that the sheep can give. And we'll see a few examples of that are right now being used. So think about it. When a sheep gets sheared every year, that inner layer that's on that sheep's wool, that's collagen, that's actually pulled off and that's used in the makeup industry. And so the wool's used in other areas. So that's some of the things, even though they may be there, they're still going to be just sheep. And they're going to have their natural products that we typically take care of on sheep. and those will be sold for the purposes they're already sold for, but they'll be sold for other things too. But it's the other products in them, like their blood. Their blood is really in high demand. So it's just like giving a blood transfusion like we do. Uh, every few weeks, you can donate blood. And so it's the same concept with the sheep. And then that can be sold on to research facilities as they work on trying to find solutions for diseases that we have. So hopefully that answered your question. Yes, but a farmer could get involved in this if they're committed to be able to hold their land for 2 years and not doing anything on it. So it gets totally, as I say, contaminated out.
Right.
Uh, if they're willing to make that investment, yeah, it's
Okay.
definitely there. And the other thing, it's just not only that. Think about those farmers that maybe want to supply food to the sheep. They just have to now grow that type of food product. And that's a business decision they make. But everybody wins from it. But like I said, the thing I look at is the other industries that will develop to take these components from the sheep to make into new products that will either be for biomedical purposes or for things that, as we call it, health and beauty aids and all that. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways this can go. And I think that's what people have to keep in perspective. It's not just the sheep, it's the byproduct market that can create it and the type manufacturing that can come out of this that we can actually create a corridor. And because Virginia's kind of made the investment in biopharma up in the Richmond area, Petersburg area, here's a region down here that could become the regenerative medicine corridor. So that works very nice from that standpoint, especially with our research institutions that are so nearby and close. So anyway, here's different things. So like in the biomedical research, it's about how to make better medical devices. The vaccines, those are going to be big with sheep or swine, anything like that. Pharmaceutical, same thing. Why is that tied? Ties to biopharma up there in the where we're doing, and they're focusing on nanotechnology and everything up there, new methods to administer the drugs and that. So here we go. You got to run the experiments. If I give sheep that are very disease free, I get my results faster. Because if you get right now, what happens in a lot of these studies, if a sheep fails, is it actually because of what they were trying on them, or was it because of the conditions they were in? They were stressed. Was it because they got a disease? So they have to do a full blown analysis. And if it's that it still kills the study either way. So we spend millions of dollars every year of studies ceasing because uh, the data is no good. And whatever caused that doesn't matter. At the end, they get the answer, but the fact is the research is lost. And so the whole thing has to start over again. And so that's kind of what's really special about these sheep, because there's no other sheep close to them. I mean, the next closest one only is disease free or pathogen free for 10, and they have 50 plus. So huge market difference. That these sheep are really big for tissue engineering. They're already being used in cosmetics, nutritional supplements. They are definitely being looked hard at cell and gene therapy. And then, like I said, they're already using their blood products with this. And then we'll see some other things. The other thing is that a lot of people don't understand is we have to grow products to protect us from, unfortunately, bad actors in the world, that we can create a product very quickly if we needed to, um, because somebody's created some type of new type of, unfortunately, biological weapon that can impact our communities. And so having these secured areas with these type animals, we can bring things to online quicker and faster and get results that can save lives. So that's part of this factor that we also have to take into account with it. And then as talked about before, the regenerative agriculture, so we can also take advantage. And what's kind of neat about this is the next to the bottom one, biochar. I know that's an area that's actually growing in Southwest Virginia because of the trees and that. But what a lot of people don't look at, they're looking at it from putting in filters and cleaning the air and all that. But that biochar is really good carbon. So for making carbon nanotubes and things like that, and a little bit clean with that, you can actually use that as a reactor in pharmaceuticals. So when they're making the drugs and things like that at the nano level. So these are all kinds of opportunities can be researched further that open up new market potentials for us versus just looking at it for, well, it's great for making filters and things. Yeah, it does. I don't disagree, but it also has other opportunities that we can reap benefits from uh, with that. So keeping that in mind. But here's something that they've done. Okay, so with the Wounded Warrior Project, they actually made external ear. And the thing is that what they do is they kind of make the ear how it looks on that person, and then they put the tissues, the cells from the sheep in there, and it grows, and eventually they're able to put that ear and attach it to that warrior, um, and now they have a normal looking ear. So, and then the ACLs, those are the tendons. I told you that's a big thing that they're doing with them. The collagen formed in that with the sheep and that. They're basically using that to help with knee replacements and all that, the knee injuries where you just tore the ACL and you just want to try to rebuild it so it's as normal as possible. And then one that they're doing is called the ghost heart, as you can see there. And what this is it's literally just the shell. And then the idea is to put human cells on that so it grows around it. So then that way, when it's implanted in that patient, the body just sees it as a normal product. And so these are some of the things that are going on right now that they're trying to do in the research and development. Now, think about if when it happens, now we will no longer have to really worry about shortage of hearts or for heart transplants and things like that. But the problem is we have to have a commercial operation to produce these products. So that's where having this thought process that they've already done a lot of R&D up in New Hampshire. Now they realize how big the potential market is. So if we actually create the facility to start making commercial product, not only can it do R&D work, it can also start creating that commercial product line so we can start saving lives. Next steps. My thoughts, and these are only my thoughts, putting Southwest Virginia on map for regenerative medicine because of our research facilities that lots of times people don't realize what surrounds us that has great potential if we partner with those entities to make things happen. The future job opportunities, everybody's just kind of looking initially when they talk about this sheep, and I keep telling everybody, think about all the byproducts type operations you got to set up to get this done. And the closer we can do it to the facility, the better benefits. And because we have a major transportation corridors, not only 81, we with that technology taking off like it is, I can see changes to Route 58. There's just so many benefits from a legit, and then you're looking to make an inland port down your way. Those are all things that you look at for the future that makes it ideal for set these type operations. Um, the educational training for our future leaders who are going to take care of animals and things like that, and those that are doing the research on the human beings that are going through these research and development studies. Everybody wins from this. And that's the big benefit. And we're not wasting anything. We're trying to figure out how to reuse it, make it better, and all that. so we can advance the technology forward so it becomes more normal and that the organ transplant industry becomes eventually a byproduct that because we just have a nice continuous supply, whether it be a combination of animal or purely human, with all the research we learn from working with the sheep and the swines and things like that. And one thing, it changes the complexion of a new opportunity for the growth back into Southwest Virginia, because if you've already got a uh, veterinarian school down there uh, that's made that investment because of the animals that are down in that region and that, think about now you're bringing this other innovative product that's taking that veterinarian talent to another level. And what we're going to do is we're going to have companies spinning out trying to make new products. And so once again, that creates innovation. What's good about that? We have North Carolina, which has some very good universities, and we have Virginia that has very good research facilities. So that changes the dynamics of income and everything else in that region. So we need workforce, and at the same time, we're creating that innovation that helps change a region. And we have already the other things that already complement the region with our tourism products and all that that have already been long established. So those are all attractions to help build the region up. And with that, that's the end of that. Is there any questions?
Folks, now's the time. Carl would be the man that can answer any questions or give you information of how to contact him for further conversation. Um, Carl is a great resource for not only this topic, but many other business topics. He's been in the industry for how long now, Carl? Let's just say more than 25 years.
I'm not scared to say I'm close to 50. So 50 years.
That's good. Yeah, Carl is the expert. So if you have questions, this is your opportunity.
Yeah.
I know I learned a ton of stuff that I hadn't even thought about in the past, and it's exciting of the potential that's available for, our health. And I mean, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing I think is the most significant is the microorgans. So you think about it, when we need to do eventually a human study, we have to get human beings to do the study on. Now, if we can make miniature organs and do the studies at those levels to see the results, and that changes the whole playing field of time to get something to market and also to kill the study much faster so we don't waste dollars.
Yep. And time, precious time.
Yeah, and time is the key. That's what I always try to tell people.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Anybody? Do you know what the winning lottery number is?
No, sure.
Yeah, I want that too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'll go talk to the sheep, see if they can tell me.
They're bad. No questions? Just remember, today's video will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and search New Knowledge, and I will send you Carl's slides with the link later today once I get it uploaded, so that you have that. And on all of these that you've attended, if you want to share with others that they can get this information and help them, especially if it's someone that's looking, I want to venture out expand my business, or I'm looking for something different to get into. Right, here's an example. There's way more to it, but you got to start someplace. You got to have that idea. And Carl, you sure have given us the ideas today. And
Appreciate
I
it.
want to thank you, Carl, for your time and, of course, your expertise. You're probably I will say you're probably one of my favorites that leads new knowledge sessions. It takes a while to put these presentations together, and we couldn't do this program without folks like yourself who donate their time and expertise to our program. And we sure appreciate it. And I know all the new knowledge team members feel the same way.
No, thank you.
And thanks for each of you for joining us today. And I hope that you left with your mouth dropped open in awe of, wow, I didn't know that was the opportunities. I didn't know about Virginia Tech until you were talking about that and what was going on in Montgomery County. So thank you so much. And thanks for joining us. Today's session is the last in our spring series. And we're going to take a break during the summer. Excuse me, but we are working on our fall schedule, and delighted to have Letterpress Communications already committed to do a number of new knowledge sessions in the fall, and we've got some other great speakers that will focus on not just marketing, but also business operations and management and finance. So hang with us, and we hope to start back either the end of August or definitely the 1st of September. We've already got 10 on our schedule. So as soon as we get the dates and I guess leaders of those sessions, will be getting you out that list so you can plan your busy schedules accordingly. And please share again with anybody that you know within your organization or business colleagues. We're doing this for you, and we want to help you.
Carl, we're going to send you the list and see if there's something on there that you feel passionate about presenting.
No problem.
Okay. I'll send it to you just in a few minutes.
So
Okay.
thanks again for joining us. Everybody have a great summer, and look forward to seeing you later in the year. So thanks again, Carl, Anita.
Great job.
Kathy, thank you for your support and on this program. So everybody have a great day, and take time for yourself. Life is short. Have a good one.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.